Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode, the Euro Show, knockout stage football. Wow, it's been an amazing Euro so far. I wasn't sure what to expect coming into this tournament, but especially with all the games that the players have played, plus with C19, I didn't know what to expect. But I got to say, it's been a good Euros. The group stage is officially over. We did have a dramatic night yesterday in Group F. That was crazy, man. First of all, we've got Eve in the building again. We're just going to be talking about the round of 16 and also our thoughts on the group stage as well. So, Eve, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. As you can tell from my jersey, I'm proud, but not that
Yeah,
proud.
nice. I'm liking that. I'm liking that sweater too.
It's the good stuff. You gotta get it. You gotta get it.
I know. I'm always looking for. I always have jerseys, but not like the warm up kits or the sweaters, which is I
The
need
good
to.
thing with the warm-up kits is you can use after the gym, right? Instead of using always the jersey. So that's why I got it. I think the warm-up kits are getting better and better. And I think this year Nike knocked it out of the park, so I'm happy.
Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, let's get started, man. So, what was your thoughts on last night? Because that was, I
Mixed
think that just
reviews.
kickstarted the Euros, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
mixed reviews on last night's game. I think the game was supposed to be tough. We knew it. France was knew it was going to be tough. I mean, every fan expected a tough game, but we expected a little bit of a revenge in a way to take what happened to the previous game in the final. But it seems it's just France wasn't clicking with that formation. Tolisso on the right is a right wing. It reminded me of Matuidi and Sissoko days of the World Cup, which clearly didn't work. And then you had Kunde on the side that just really failed in the beginning. So I think the formation just didn't work in the beginning. I think there definitely needs some tweaks. I'm still surprised the wings aren't there. I talk about it every day with my other friends. Um, the wings are just not there. It's very surprising. Coman coming in made a massive difference. Speed, just like Dembele. Unfortunately, Dembele got injured. So yeah, I don't like what I saw in the first half. It was by far really alarming that just France isn't clicking. The second half was very different. Benzema scoring definitely opened the floodgates. Finally, exactly what we were waiting from him from all this time, that he would be present, and he was, which is great. What's interesting about that penalty with Benzema, and I'll continue again and analyzing the game, is that Pepe told the goalkeeper to go exactly the way Benzema was shooting it. The
Oh,
goalkeeper did
wow.
not pay attention. If the goalkeeper had paid attention, there would have been no goal potentially. So a big fail on the communication from the Portuguese side. Watch the replay, and you'll see that Pepe is showing he's going left, he's going left, he's going left, and the goalkeeper goes right, which is completely the opposite direction. So that was interesting. Portugal, Portugal definitely fought for their life, but I definitely saw a weak Portugal. It was not a Portugal that can beat any team. If they hadn't had those penalties, they would go nowhere.
Yeah.
Very surprising from Portugal. I thought they would come on a lot stronger. Near the end of the game, there was a chance to get kicked out, and they made no effort to win it. They just wanted to equalize and stay put, which was interesting. I don't know if they knew France was coming on hard and they wanted to play like Hungary, very defensive,
Yeah.
but Portugal was not reassuring. Not that they're going to play Belgium. Belgium's another level as well, so they're going to have to step up, because Belgium is, in my view, Belgium and Italy are the strongest I've seen so far.
Yeah.
Um, for us being first, I don't understand as well why we push to be first, seeing how this organization happens. I mean, we're playing on the very, very tough side. If we had been second, we would have played England and other teams on that side. It seems a bit more easy or easier to get to the final. I'm
If you
still
if you
surprised
came
by.
second, yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised why we push to be first, because honestly, it's not in our playing field. Yes, I mean, in order to be the best, you have to beat the best, without a question. But if you look at it, you want to get to the final. Like, I'd rather be in Germany's position than right where we are right now. I mean, we're looking at, if we win, we have to beat Croatia or Spain. Obviously, there's a remake of the final of the World Cup or a remake of the Euro again.
Yeah.
Then after that, you're looking at Italy or Belgium, which, if Portugal doesn't go through, like, it's not an easy way to get to the final, but it is what it is. It's entertaining for fans, but as a French fan, Yeah, I would have preferred to have been second.
Yeah, that's I don't understand how that's even fair the way they're doing it, right? I don't know if it's just based on the overall points because I know France didn't have the best record in qualifiers, right? And I think we always make the job difficult for ourselves every time in qualifiers, and then we always seem to be in that group of death, and then it's always a struggle. Even in qualifiers, like we had Portugal and Croatia in qualifiers, right? Was that for the World? Yeah, no, that was the Nations League. The Nations
That
League
was
where we
Nations
had.
League, which wasn't easy. It's like in the NFL, NBA. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, no question. You can't always get those small teams. You have to beat the best. I get it, but the whole right side of the competition seems much harder than the whole left side. I mean, if I look at Wales versus Denmark, it could go either way. Honestly, on a
Yeah,
good day, it could be Wales. On a good day, it could be Denmark. I personally hope it's Denmark, being half Danish. I hope they make it all the way to the semifinal. But looking at that, it's possible.
yes.
Versus if I had put Denmark on the right hand side, you can definitely say their journey ends in the 16th.
At this,
If
that is true.
you look on the left side and you look at England versus Germany, I mean, whoever wins that game technically can go all the way to the final. Honestly, if I look at the teams,
Yeah,
now it's a bit unfair to say that Czech Republic and all that don't have a chance, but if you look at the sheer talent,
yeah.
yeah,
No, at the
whoever
end of the
beats that
day,
game
right? Like,
should go.
yeah.
Exactly.
But you know what it is, and that's what's fun about the Euros is like same with the group of death, group F. No one talked about Hungary. No one
No, no
talked
one.
about Hungary, right? And to be fair, like I don't think I even know a single player from the Hungary team,
I
but
don't.
they
I don't.
performed well. They performed. They were actually the what's it called, the one team that we did not know what was going to happen. They were supposed to be the easy 3 points, and look at what happened. Every team struggled against them. So
I
apart from
I
Portugal,
found them
we
like
got lucky. But
I think Portugal got lucky multiple times. I think they're very lucky to be in the group. I think if they had played the way they played yesterday the entire time in the group, I think they would have been out. They really showed their true colors versus Germany. Again, they didn't fight and they took a beating. Versus France, they played the tie at the end when they should have gone for the win. Versus Hungary, again, the penalties played a factor for them.
yeah,
It's like that's the thing. Without the penalties, would they have won it? And it's like, are you a team that plays penalties or are you a team that plays? And right now, I didn't see it. Right.
yeah,
Um, if I look at Hungary, for me, it's funny. I think of them like a Trojan horse. Everybody assumed that they were just a gift on a platter, and
yeah,
then unleashes this battle that like this army you would have not expected to just really give you a hard time. The first goal versus Germany was beautiful. They fought till the end, and it's sad for them not to go through. They deserved it. If they were on another group, I would have wanted to see them in the next round. They
yeah.
deserved it.
And I
But
think they would have been really hard for England because I think
yeah,
if they had gone through, they would have played England, and I think they would have been harder for England to break because we'll get to England shortly. But yeah, France was. I was nervous in that game yesterday. I rushed back home, and I'm like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I started stressing. I'm like, "This cannot be another repeat of 2016, where Portugal just strolled their way to the finals and won it." You know what I mean? It's like I've not
I
seen
don't. I
anything from
don't.
Portugal.
I don't think it's going to happen with the groups with the right hand side being so complicated. Portugal is going to have to either it's elimination now. You
Yeah,
can't just sit back and hope for a 0-0. So they're going to have to go out and play. If they
yeah,
don't, they'll get crucified by Belgium. It's as clear as that. Belgium and them might tie until like 70th minute, and maybe there'll be a penalty, but sooner or later they're going to be faced with the problem of either you score ahead and you don't defend, or you wait until extra time and you get screwed in the penalties. So I don't see Portugal that strong. As a defending champ, they're at the same position I thought they would be in, and they're not in a good position.
not
I
a good
think
position. Yeah,
Italy is a strong contender. I actually think they could go all the way if France doesn't get their stuff together.
yeah,
Belgium, the issue I have with Belgium is they're so cocky. Ever since the World Cup, they're so cocky. They keep saying that they should have won, and fans and even their players are saying they consider the Euro more important than the World Cup. It's like any fan would tell you that is ridiculous. The World
yeah,
Cup is above everything else. The Euro is subpar. You're not playing the best teams in the planet. You're playing the best teams in Europe. Um, And I truly think that Belgium need to step off their high horse. They haven't won anything. They're just a good team together. And if they want to win it, they have to stay humble. And that's some of these teams win because they stay humble. And I look
Yeah,
at Italy, and Italy is humble. They don't have multiple stars. They have a great group.
yeah,
And that's how they're pushing forward. And I don't like Belgium just on the principle that they're so cocky and they haven't won. They haven't proven anything yet. It's like it's great to be good, but you have to win. Germany's good
yeah.
on one game and terrible on another.
Yeah, you know what, Germany, we'll talk about Germany with the England clash, but Germany has been really confusing. Because I'm part of a Euro pool, and we did you have to like pick make your picks and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And I put Germany to finish second in that group because at first I wrote Germany off, and I had to go back. My friend Jeff, who you've met before,
yeah.
on the show for La Liga, and he was really hyping the German team, and I was like, okay, pause. I went back, looked at the German team. I'm like, whoa, this team is actually has depth, right? It actually has they have some really good players. And so that's why I looked at the balance that Germany had, and that's why I figured they're a better team on balance than Portugal was. So that's where it's kind
If
of
I look at
tricky.
it is tricky. And if I look at Germany, I look at Bayern. Bayern is exactly that. I mean, it's a German team without Lewandowski.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It's
exactly.
basically Bayern without Lewandowski, and you can see that's the problem. They don't have a striker. Werner is just he can't hit water if it was off a boat. It's not possible.
Yeah,
So if you look at the team, the only weakness on that team is they're young and they're playing like they're playing in Bayern Munich. If I look at other teams, Portugal, the only factor that they were dangerous is because they know how to play tactically and they're the ex-champions. So obviously everybody gave them credit. France, the sheer talent on paper just scares you. But when they play together, the first two games, even first three games, it just wasn't clicking. I really
yeah.
hope it's exactly like the World Cup, that everything changes. Like we
After the
played
group stage.
Argentina, everything changes versus Switzerland. But if we tie to Switzerland and we wait to extra time, I don't think this France team is going anywhere. It's going to
Yeah.
stop. One
Did
team
France play
yeah,
Switzerland in the World Cup as well? I feel like we
I
played.
think we played them in the World Cup in the group stage, and we played
Oh,
them
it
in
was
the
in the group stage.
previous
Okay.
previous World Cup somewhere in the group stage as well. So they've been present here and
Yeah,
there, and it's always been this 0-0. But with the sheer talent we have now compared to the team we had in the past, there's no way we should be accepting 0-0. It should be 3-4-0 with the talent. I mean, Mbappe has been awful. He hasn't been the player I thought he was, and which brings me back to my thought, which is his time at Paris has expired. He needs to be in another level to show it. It's not normal that a 34-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo, 36 or 7-year-old, is scoring 5-6 goals and Mbappe can't.
yeah. Still not
He
scored
missed
yet.
he missed the goal. He missed the shot yesterday, which was, in my view, unforgivable. He's a striker. He needs to be hungry, lethal. He needs to make that, and he didn't. And
Yeah,
he didn't even have the chance to make the penalty. And then all of a sudden, France decided he's the free kick guy, and he's not making it as well. Like Mbappe, it's come to the point where if he wants to be a golden ball winner, you have to step up, and this is the platform to step up, and he hasn't. Benzema stepped
yeah,
up. I saw it. Cristiano Ronaldo stepped up. He's always there. He's consistent, and that's what a true global player is: consistency. And Mbappe
yeah,
was consistent on speed, but shots, he hasn't been there, and that's what
yeah.
scares me.
But to be fair, though, he was unlucky in the Germany game. I think
He
he
was,
played.
he
He was
was.
decent in that game against Germany, and that goal at the bottom corner, that was class. Like that was kind of upsetting that he was off for that pass, but
Correct.
yeah. And then the
But
Hungary game, there's nothing
that's
France
my
could have
point.
done. It seemed like everything they did
But
was just not working in that game.
I agree, but my point is that it's if it doesn't work for Barcelona, Messi will step up.
Yeah,
If it doesn't work for Real Madrid, Ronaldo will find a way, and that's what it means to carry a team. That's what it means to be a leader. So, a 21-year-old who claims he's the best in the world and he wants to win, the Golden Ball, and he wants to elevate the status of Paris Saint-Germain, you should have scored a lot more in the group stage. So, I really
yeah,
hope we see another side of him in Switzerland, that he really plays the game the way he's meant to be played, that he puts himself on the score sheet.
yeah.
So,
I'm actually kind of happy that not happy, obviously. You want to see your team do well, but I'm happy that this has happened in the group stage, and it was a wake up call. Even though obviously we had the hardest group, like that was the group whereby every game was intense, and then Hungary only made it even more intense. So, but I think hopefully this is a wake up call for the players to realize that yes, they won the World Cup. That was 3 years ago. There's a little bit of a change on the French team with Benzema coming in, Toulouse's coming in now, or Rabiot. So it's changed just a little bit, but they still have the core, right, of the team that won. So it's as long as it doesn't get to their heads. I hope this is a wake up call for them to realize that okay, now the knockout stage is here. It's time for you to, because everyone's been saying it. Are France the favorites? And now that question is beginning to. Those answers are no longer as
The answer,
confident.
the answer right now is no. We're not the
Yeah.
favorites. If I look at the team, the favorite is definitely Belgium and Italy. They're the two favorites based on what they produced in the group.
Yes.
It's simple as that. And if I look at the team on paper, the ones that are the scariest is France. They should be favorites, but they haven't shown anything. Yes, you are right. We had the toughest group. You can't always go out with wings and strike and et cetera and play your game. You had to adapt to a game that was to make sure you win and not necessarily give up possession. And so we had to go in with a different mindset. I don't think France is cocky, and I don't see it in the players. They're always very humble. I think Didier Deschamps yesterday spoke and he said, listen, I messed up with Tolisso and Koundé. So he realized it as well. And that's what I like about them, that they're flexible. I just need to see something else for Switzerland, or else I can't believe.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a crucial game to
exactly. And
if
for
they're
Belgium,
still playing the way they played in the group stage, then that's cause for alarm.
Exactly. And for Belgium, they're so cocky that if they don't manage to beat this Portugal team 5-0, I won't have any respect for them, because they keep saying they're the best team. And okay, it's great, but you had an easier group and you didn't win in the World Cup. You can moan about everything you want, but you didn't win. And you didn't win prior to that. And now Ibrahim is becoming 29 or 30. So age is going to be a factor for them for the next round. So it's either now or now.
Yeah,
now or
that
never,
was actually
honestly.
one of the questions is because Belgium's last opportunity to
Because
to do something.
exactly, if you look at this team, it's kind of building blocks to what the World Cup's going to look like in a year. So if I look at Spain is rebuilding, they're doing well. Belgium
They
is
just need to
pushing
find a
their
striker,
limits.
man.
Exactly. Exactly. And Belgium is pushing their limits. Germany is rejuvenating. France is still rejuvenating and as well as building on. Belgium's at that limit of we don't know whether they can push more than this. So if they don't win now, I don't see them being productive in 2022. And Italy is caught in between. They have a great mix of young and old. And it's always been the case for Italy. That's why they're such great champions. They've always found that middle ground, and they've managed to just have a harmony and just go out and play. And I pray Italy doesn't win, because I'm not a fan of them winning again. I would love to see France win. I would honestly, my dream would be France Denmark in the final. That would be
that's all family. That's family ties.
Exactly.
That's family.
But I'm happy for Denmark. I am happy given what Eriksson.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that was. What was your take on that? I know, obviously, it's been a week now or so. I remember watching that live, and so basically, I was kind of doing some work while I was watching that game, because Denmark, Finland. I'm like, okay, I could put the game on and be productive at the same time, right? And I look up, it's a throw-in. I look down, look back up. Eriksson is on the ground. Players are running around. What's going on? And I'm like, okay, is he gonna get up? And it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'm like, oh my goodness. I had a little bit of tears coming down my eye, and I'm like, wow, this is not good. Obviously,
I thought he died. Honestly, I saw it. I was watching the game live with my fiance, and yeah, for me, it was very emotional. I mean, Eriksson is the pride of a nation. So I was watching it live, and at first I didn't know who it was. I didn't think it was Eriksson. I just saw players around, and I saw Kja, freak out. He was basically saying, Carr was basically saying, hey, come on, come on, come on. I saw him put his finger in his tongue, try and get it out to make sure he doesn't choke. Then I saw the guys coming on stage. Then I saw the players, forming a kind of a battalion formation around him. And then I see the defibrillators, and I'm like, this guy is passing away before our eyes. And I realized it's Eriksson, and I'm just getting shocked. So the shock was very, very present. And I don't know how they managed to go back on the field.
Yeah, which is now that's become a controversy, right? Because they're saying now that UEFA didn't give them any options that they could have taken. So yeah,
I don't know how they did it, and the way they played, and yeah, they lost, but the way they played with heart. But you can see some of the players were off; they were just
yeah,
completely gone, and they lost, which was fatal. And then they played Belgium, and that was another tough game. But they played so well versus Belgium
yeah,
that I was like, this team can go somewhere if they manage to qualify. And then the last game happened. And I'm like, okay, guys, this is your moment to show us how much heart you have. And I was
and they
telling my
did.
father, I was telling my father, he was watching the game and I was telling him, watch, it's going to be 3-0, watch. And he's like, no, it's not possible. This team never has done this. And I'm like, watch, it's going to be 3-0. These guys are hungry. And it ends up being 4-1. Pride
Yeah,
of a nation. It's amazing. So versus Wales, if they keep that pride, I actually think they can beat them.
yeah. I think that's
So
going to be a good game. People are looking down on that game, but I think it's two nations that are playing with a
it's
lot of
too
pride.
level playing field. It's
Yeah,
leveled, right? So I think
anyone could
it's
win
going to be
that,
a
and
great game.
I'm
Yeah, it's
actually
a
looking
great
forward
game.
to that game for sure. I'm looking
Same.
forward to it. I think Bill has done. He's been a leader for Wales in this tournament. He's really
Yeah.
stepped up. So yeah. So let's just switch gears to our predictions for the. I think it's the 8 games. So
Yep.
let's just start with the one we just talked about: Wales versus Denmark. What's your? Obviously, I know you're going to be a bit biased in that one.
I'm biased because it's gonna be Denmark. I say 3-1 Denmark, but
3-1. Oh wow.
I actually think Denmark's gonna come out and knock this one out of the park. I think Wales will be surprised. They'll defend. They'll score. Probably bail, but I think Denmark won't go away. I think their heart and pride after what happened with Russia, you can see this team has potential.
Yeah.
So I actually think 3-1 Wales. Netherlands, Czech Republic. Honestly, I think Netherlands should win this 2-0, but Czech Republic can be tricky, so I say 2-1.
Yeah.
Sweden, Ukraine. I think Sweden can knock it out of the park as well, 3-0. And then England, Germany. I
That's going
actually
to be a
think
big
England
one.
can surprise it. I actually think England can surprise Germany and actually beat them 1-0.
I think, obviously, as a team, I think England is a lot better than
Mm.
Germany, like in terms of the attacking threat that they have. Um, it's defensively, I'm still worried about defensively. And does England have the players that can, withstand Germany's possession play? So that's where it's going to be tricky. And obviously, there's talks of
You have to
Mason
look at
Mount.
where Germany is, right? You have to look at Germany versus France ended 1-0. They played very tactical and
Yeah.
defensive. Germany versus Portugal destroyed Portugal, and then Germany versus Hungary got destroyed by Hungary until the very last moment. If you look at all three of those games, that tells me that Germany just can't find the right balance to just be consistent.
Yeah.
England has been consistently poor. At least that's one thing I'll give them. So they're consistently poor, but now that they
But
know
getting the
there's a
job
threat
done.
of, yeah, but they're getting the job done, but they've been consistently poor. If I look at England being consistent poor again, then on a bad day they could beat Germany. On a good day of Germans, yeah, England has no chance until they get their stuff together. But if I look at an upset, this would be the upset that Germany gets kicked out by England at home at Wembley. I mean, that would be something, you know.
Yeah. I don't, when you think about on a competitive level, these two teams are basically evenly matched with their history.
Yeah,
They've both won one, drawn one, and lost one. So, and like on international tournaments. So, it's going to be interesting. But I think Southgate. I want to touch on this one a little bit. Garrett Southgate. What's your thoughts on this England team? Because as a Manchester United fan, I just feel the exact same thing that we've complained about Ole is exactly what's happening with the England camp. I don't. You might see it differently, but just listening to the press, listening to fans' reactions, and it's literally just like one of my flawless from Sarcasm City. He calls Southgate Ole in a waistcoat, except this time Ole forgot. I mean, Southgate forgot his waistcoat, but it's still that like it's a decision making. You have a talented crop of players, but do you feel he is using them the right way, or do you feel like England could be less pragmatic?
I think England has had the same issue since the beginning, which is can they get Can they get a harmony going, even though that rivalry plays such a big role in the Prem?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. They're so focused on rivalry in the Prem. Liverpool this, Manchester United this, City that, Arsenal this, Chelsea that. That I'm not too sure they can get it going if they have that mindset. They seem to be friends, but they still manage to tease each other about rivalry. I think the coach is awful. I would definitely change him in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even pick him. I don't understand why someone hasn't gone after Fergie and said, "Hey, listen, you're of age. Give it a shot. This is now or never." But this coach is awful. I don't know why he's still there. I see no tactical magician. I see nothing about putting this team together right. I don't know how this guy cannot get Kane together. Kane is by far the best striker they've had in a really, really long time. You look at Foden, granted he has blonde hair, and that's the problem as well with Foden. That's exactly what I've said since the beginning. You have to be humble. He
Yeah.
colored his hair at a time again that he thinks he's going to replicate. He should have gone in and just said, "I'm Foden. I'm me. I'm
Shaved your head
different.
bald.
Different time." It's just be humble and focus on the game. The fact that they're thinking about something else and they keep saying it's coming home, it's coming home. Yeah, it's coming home, but it's not coming home to win. It's just coming home. You're coming home.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think England has that same problem. Poor coach, bad harmony, and they can't get stuff together because they each play in a different position that they're meant to be.
Yes.
And that's the problem. I think Foden needs to be at cam and he needs to be almost like a false nine, which is what Pep uses him. So
Yeah.
if you can't put him as a false nine, don't play him. Wait till
Exactly.
Kane's tired, then put Foden in. Why aren't the wings being used?
Yeah. You have
I mean,
Sancho. You have Rashford. You
just
have
yeah, you're
what's
sitting
it,
on
Grealish.
a
Like there's so
gold
many
mine.
players that
Yeah,
he could put on that
and
he's not putting on.
it doesn't make sense. I personally think that England need to go back to the fundamentals, which is start over with the coach. Get this coach out of there. He's a waste of time. I don't think he's a Ole in a coat. I honestly think he's by far the worst manager I've seen ever. Simple. Out of
Jeez.
if I look at all the groups and all the teams, I cannot say which manager is worse than England, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if I look at what a coach has done with Ukraine and manages to get them through, that's even more impressive what he's done in England. If I look at what Sweden, the coach has done to get Sweden through,
Yeah.
that's more impressive in England. If I look at Denmark, after all the stuff they went through in the group and they still managed to win, I would put Denmark over England in terms of coach. This guy cannot get it together. I don't see why he's there. I would have fired him long before, honestly.
I don't know
It's a shame.
because of the whole this is why I say like it's similar to Ole is like you think about the decision making put in players. So he's basically the favoritism once again, whereby he's shoehorning players that don't fit together. Like what the last game against the Czech Republic, he played 3 holding midfielders, 3, and you wonder why Kane cannot get a goal. 3 holding midfielders, so you basically played like a back 7. That's wild. A back 7,
It's just not
and then
how.
you have luckily Saka came in. I know people were like, "Oh, that's not. How can you start Saka? Look at what Saka has done." And people just don't want to give Saka his flowers because he doesn't fit he doesn't have the look. You know what I mean? Like, but Saka has been more effective throughout the season for Arsenal, and now he's come on the big stage and shown it again. And I think people are too biased in their like preference of players. It could just be the way they look, the way they act, the things they say, and it's just like, you know what? I think Saka should be starting the next game. There's no reason why Grealish should not be starting that game as well. And then, what the hell is going on with Sancho?
I
Like, what's
totally
going? That's like
agree,
the
and
Van de Beek. That's the Van de Beek situation.
I totally
Sancho
agree,
is the
and
most qualified player on that squad. He's the only player apart from him and maybe Phil Foden and Walker that play Champions League football week in, week out. What do you mean that he's not experienced in tournament football?
I
So
don't
this is why
agree.
I say it's very similar to Ole because I can pick each player and see and over the formation, the substitutions, questionable. You know what I mean? So that's where it's like I just feel for the United fans that are also English that have to deal with this under Southgate because I think it's criminal. It's criminal to have a team like that and you're keeping players on the bench or players are not even making the match day squad that
I
should be
think
on there.
I think that England suffers from that syndrome of if you're not in the top four in terms of club, you shouldn't be included. If I look at what Saka has done consistently, yeah, Arsenal's not great. It's great. You can't say anything about it, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to include him in the squad. The guy has been producing for Arsenal
Yeah.
to get them still surviving. So why wouldn't you include him? Because he hasn't played Champions League? Okay. Sancho is a big mystery for me. It's almost the same mystery as why is Coman on the bench for France. I don't understand these two coaches that they have a gold mine sitting on the bench and they prefer to pull him in at the 60th minute, if not at the 70th minute, when the guy needs at least 10 minutes to warm up. It doesn't make sense
Yeah.
to me. Honestly, just for that, I would fire the coach because that means that they're not doing something right.
Who would you play Coleman for?
We played Tolisso on the right-hand side. Explain how that
Yeah,
makes
that
sense
was
to me.
weird though, the Toulouse selection.
Didier Deschamps went with the same mindset as he did for the World Cup. He put Matuidi exactly at the same position. We don't need Matuidi and we don't need Tolisso there. Tolisso is a perfect replacement for when Pogba's tired.
Yeah.
Because we need Pogba at his best. Because he can be at his best. He can be a gold mine. But when he's shit, replace him quickly.
Replace him quick, yeah.
And Coleman not being in there because he just plays wings doesn't make sense to me. He's a wing player. Just play him in a wing. We need a fast guy on the. Maybe that'll open Mbappe. But that for me is if he doesn't start versus Switzerland, I honestly think it's a personal grudge.
Yeah, on him.
It doesn't make sense. And for England, same thing. If Sancho doesn't start for a game like this, it's a personal grudge. And if it's a personal grudge
against Germany, so because the English press are talking about how Jude Bellingham should be starting because he's plays for Dortmund and he's played with the German players. What about Sancho? Sancho also plays on the same team and is actually a starter. So it's bizarre and it just hurt. It's frustrating when you see the media backing the coach for his for the stupidity. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. The media should be completely independent. I think the media has too much power in England. I think they should keep their mouth shut. They have nothing to say besides bad press. It's always bad information. BBC on all that sports. It's always bad information. You put unnecessary pressure on players. I think they should have fired that coach regardless of what happened. I don't care about the fans, what they say. He's a bad coach. There's nothing he's done that's productive. Nothing. Yeah. He's gotten them through the group by sheer miracle that no other team that was stronger than England showed up there. Yeah, it's like sheer luck. I really don't think that coach should be there. Sancho not starting for a German game where he speaks German and understands what the others are talking about tactically. I mean, that to me, he's the perfect spy. I would start him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but it's crazy though to start him when he hasn't played the 3 games, so he's not even. This is the stuff, man.
I would still start him. I couldn't care less. I would still start him. I think his sheer talent is.
Obviously, I don't care. I don't care, but it's like over in that first game, the subs that he was bringing on, I'm like, why? Why are you bringing in these players? You know what I mean? If Kane is not performing, 78th minute, 65th minute, take him off. Bring in Calvin Lewis. There's so many players that they have that they can just change something.
Agree, and that's the problem with England. It's just that I don't think they have the. I want to say this in the correct way. I don't think they have the guts to actually take Kane off at the 50th minute if needed.
Yeah,
if he's awful, sub. I think some of these coaches need to be ruthless. You're waiting for this one miracle, maybe at the 89th minute. No. You need to go out there and be like, at the 50th minute, for 45 minutes, he's been abysmal. Take him off, put someone else, and give them their chance. Maybe during the Euro, that's the one. If we know anything about Euros, it tends to be the player that we don't expect to win.
Exactly.
So
same thing I said in the Europa League finals. The same thing, exactly. Right? Is you gotta be. That's why you have a bench. You have a bench for a reason, and different players. Maybe the way a team is set up and the way the team is playing. Maybe Kane is not the person for you. Right. No. So maybe at that point, because Kane is occupying Mason Mount's role, it's like, okay, Kane, this is not Spurs. This is not Tottenham. Stay up front, stay in the box. But Kane keeps trying to come out, and then you have too many ball holders and nobody to deliver the ball to in the box. So maybe someone like Calvin Lewis can come in and change that dynamic because Calvin Lewis is more of an inbox striker. There's just
I would even say that don't put any strikers.
Yeah.
Germany is not going to play with strikers. So why would you play with a striker? I would represent exactly what they're doing. So I would put Sancho, and then I would put wingers, and then a false nine, which would be Foden. And then
Yeah.
as a second, as a 45-minute change, put Kane if it's not producing. But putting Kane in there when he's not really producing and the poor guy is getting beat by the media of no fault of his own doesn't make sense to me. If Kane doesn't score during the Euro, but they manage to win, that's fine. But at least as a team, they're winning
Poor
because
Giroud.
that's Giroud, right? He wasn't scoring, but he was there,
Yeah.
right? He produced. He was there for the high balls. We needed him to recover. He did his part, so I cannot fault him. And he's 5 goals away from being the all-time French scorer, which is insane to think about for a guy
Yeah.
that everyone counted him out, and he's not doing well in the club. But yet, during our preparation games, he banged 2 goals in.
Yeah. I feel.
So to
What's your take
me,
on like him not even playing at all?
it's it's the nature of the game, right? He's not speedy, and he's there as a sub, and that was a risk. He's a 32-year-old or 35-year-old, maybe I'm wrong. He's a 35-year-old at the low point in his career. He's not consistent with his club. He's a joker. At this
Yeah.
point, he's not a starter. He's a joker, and that's a role he has to accept. It's not a bad thing. It's age plays a role, and he's not fast. Benzema being there opens gates for Mbappe, which Mbappe is not taking,
Yeah.
but it still opens gates for him. The fact that Benzema scored shows that the system with Mbappe works. Now, if Benzema isn't scoring, this is where you have to be ruthless and say, okay, it's not working, bring Giroud in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Instead of waiting 70, 75 minutes for a hope, because Giroud is older and he's
Yeah.
going to need more time to just be lethal. He'll have maybe 10 minutes of his best, and that's it. After
Yeah.
that, he's just going to be in the quiet zone. And to me, that's how it is. Wouldn't you rather, in England's side, risk Sancho playing his best for 30 minutes and then being tired, switching him off and putting Kane, than
Yeah.
putting
You
him at
would
the
think.
80th minute where he needs 10, 15 minutes to warm up? Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. It's. Yeah.
And you
It.
played football. We played football. We know that the
Man.
young guys are really quick right away. You need them.
Yeah.
And then when the young guys are out of breath because they mismanaged their stamina,
Then you
sub
bring
them
in
in
the
for
old
the
guys. Yeah.
you
Or even
sub them
vice
in.
versa, depending on how the
Yeah,
game is. If it's a very tactical game, then you're
correct.
bringing in the old guys first. When the legs are tired, then you now bring in the young guys with speed,
Correct.
agility, and that way, that's how you can knock out teams, right? But I think coaches, I don't know what it is, man. I think we're in an age whereby there's too many inexperienced coaches.
I think
Maybe it's always
Deschamps.
obviously I do understand it. Coaches have their favorites. Coaches have particular players that they want to play all the time. We get that, but when it's not working, you need to be man enough to change it. You know what I mean? I think that's where it's not fair. I think the England squad right now, depending on who starts on against Germany, we're going to see a lot of. I don't think there's going to be harmony in that camp because at some point Sancho is going to be like, "What in the world is going on? I've tried to be nice, I've tried to be smiling, but there's no
I don't
reason
think
why Phil
Southgate.
Foden
I
should
don't
be
think
starting over
Southgate.
me. There's
I
no
don't think
reason."
Southgate will make it.
Yeah,
Honestly, if they don't beat England, if they don't beat Germany, I think that's it for him. I don't see why you would keep him because it's not the best German team you've seen. They're second.
yeah,
They're not first. They're second. So it's not the best German team you've seen. So if England don't manage to win this or at least score 1 or 2 goals to equalize, I think Southgate should get the boot. And I honestly think he should go back to the beginning of football. I don't think he has the technical capacity to understand what it is. And you are right about experienced coaches. I think the only experienced coaches that are worth talking about is that actually won something is Spain and
yeah,
France. Those two coaches won something proven. They have a process and it works. Didier Deschamps, we don't like everything he makes, but he won the World Cup for a reason. His
yeah.
system works. So I'll trust in the system, even though sometimes I disagree. Italy,
Mancini has really impressed me, man.
yeah,
'Cause I
I
know
was about to
Mancini
say that.
plays
It's
very pragmatic as well.
pragmatic as well. I can't say anything. He hasn't won that much, but pragmatic. Belgium, he's a good coach, but he hasn't won anything, so I can't give him credit. Simple as
Yeah,
that. Dutch, the Dutch, I think I
are
don't like
doing
the
well, man.
coach.
The Dutch are doing well. Memphis
They're doing well,
Depay,
but I really don't like that coach. I think he doesn't understand
Frank de Boer.
how this. Yeah, I don't think he understands how this team rolls. Denmark have always had inexperienced coaches in terms of an international level, so it's not a surprise. But for what's happening, I think he's done a great job. And Sweden,
Yeah,
the same thing. It is what it is.
yeah, that's true. Are you excited to
And look,
see how Memphis is doing well, especially because he's going to Barcelona, right? It's
Yeah,
official.
signed. Barcelona got Memphis, Eric Garcia, Emerson, and then I forgot we had another kid as well, and Aguero. Sorry, not a kid,
Oh
a
yeah,
man.
Aguero. Yeah.
So I think Aguero is going to be interesting to see because I think he can actually do something with Messi. Messi still hasn't signed his contract, which is a little bit worrisome because it's about 5 days away from being a free agent.
Yeah.
Um, Depe, I like Depe, I really do, but I'm not too sure he has the quality to play in Barcelona. What I like about him is that he openly said that it was his dream since the beginning. So he's got grit,
Yeah.
and that was his goal. He's not just there because it's Barcelona. He's there because it's been his dream, and I like those type of players because they tend to work harder to make it work.
Yeah.
Um, Emerson coming back, I think we need speed, so it makes sense. And then Eric Garcia, he's a mini PK
Mm.
in a booming way. So I think it's nice and refreshing. I am anxious about Aguero. I am worried that Aguero, now that he's with Messi, he'll just kind of lay back and be like,
Yeah.
I'm just
Become a vacation. It becomes a
yeah.
vacation spot.
But I hope he's actually there because he wants to win something because we definitely need to push.
I think
The
he would
president,
though. I think he would because I don't think Aguero was really happy that I don't Pep has never really been the biggest fan of Aguero, even like from the time that he came to City, and Aguero has proved him wrong so many times. But I think Pep has just been looking for an out to get Aguero out of that team, and he finally did. So I think Aguero has a point to prove that you know what, yeah, bar injuries, I still have a lot of football to play. So I think
I
kind of
agree.
like the Suarez story
I think it's
when
a
he went to
Suarez
Atletico.
situation. Yeah, I think it's a Suarez situation. I hope he proved himself. I have more expectation. I have more worries on Memphis than I do for Aguero. I think Aguero, we know what he's coming in to do. He's coming in to support and be our kind of striker when we need it, and to
Yeah,
support Griezmann because Griezmann is not always that striker we need. So it's great to have a second striker, an actual proper striker. Memphis, he's not a striker. He's not a winger. He's not a cam. He's a bit of all of it. And I want to see him play the Barca style, which is pass, 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 be in the moment and shoot and actually hit on target. I don't want to see him dribbling on the left hand side, him dribbling on the right hand side. That's not
yeah.
what I want to see. So I am a little worried.
But
I
I gotta
don't like.
say, from his performance though, he's shown a lot of maturity.
Yeah,
I gotta say, for the Dutch team, he's shown a lot of maturity, which is what I think. When you look back to when he first signed for United, he was still young. He was what, 20 years old, 21. He was still young, playing, and he came at a time whereby the club was in the massive transition after just losing Ferguson. So I think he's kind of, because it could have easily gone the other way, whereby he gets rejected by United, and then he's playing for some B League team and just never mounts to
it could
anything.
have
But I'm
been.
really
It could have
happy
been.
that he's gone through that adversity, and now he's back on the big stage, whereby clubs like Barcelona are now looking for signing him. So I think he's somebody who's shown leadership. He's shown his quality and maturity.
I
So,
agree. I think he's done a very good job in Lyon. He's done a very good job bringing his level back. I think at Manchester United, he was very young, and we can say the same thing about De Bruyne, Lukaku, and all those guys that were at Chelsea as well. We can say the same thing about Robben going to Madrid, total disaster. Going to Bayern Munich, being you know all time great. Every player needs to be in their environment, and I don't think Memphis was in his environment in Manchester United, and I think he was in his environment in Lyon because he could finally be who he was. Barcelona is weak, so it's the perfect time for him to show up. Um, and then let's see. I mean, I'm excited. We the president did what he said he was going to do, which is great. He said there's going to be 2 or 3 more signings. I'm keen to see that. He's rejuvenating the squad in a sense, bringing players we need. Obviously, what I really liked that he didn't go to battle for Wijnaldum. I really like that. He said, this is what we can offer, and we're not going to go to battle with PSG. I really like that. That shows
yeah.
character. It's either you accept the project or you accept the cash, and he accepted the cash. And in the media, he says they were quicker. It's the fact is they offered him double his salary, so obviously he went for that. There's
Oh,
no debate.
yeah.
He didn't like the project. It's fine, but I find it ironic that we have De Jong and Memphis and potentially getting someone else that's from his squad, and he decided to go to PSG. It's fine, but
That's weird.
It definitely wasn't the project. You can definitely
Yeah,
see its cash behind it.
that he wanted. Okay. Yeah, and I think he's probably just someone who wants to. He probably feels that right at the moment, PSG has a better chance of advancing further in the Champions League too. Because I think that's what a lot
Probably.
of players are looking at is what is the Champions League football like, right? Which, yeah, and you know what, Paris, Barcelona, those are two cities. We're not talking about Manchester, the city of Manchester. Like, those are two hard cities to. The only time you would, I think Barcelona would just be more for the weather. But in terms of like, prosperous cities or fashion, just attention, I think they're both equally as valuable.
In terms of football, it's Barcelona. Can't say it. I mean, if you look at the history and the club and the status, it's Barcelona. Barcelona's
Yeah,
on the verge of rejuvenating. It's now or never to join Barcelona. If Laporta wants you, you don't say no because it's now or never that he's going to build a squad around you. So him not choosing Barcelona, to me, that tells me he's not choosing football as a project. He's choosing how can I get more attention, more money, but also be carried by a team, not
yeah,
necessarily
exactly.
put that much weight in. Versus Barcelona, he knows he's going to have to put a lot of weight, a lot of work because it's rebuilding. Paris, it's minor tweaks, and they have a really good squad. So I think he didn't go for the project. He went for a little bit of an easier tone,
Yeah,
saying, over there, it won't be as much of a headache. I'll get a good salary. It'll be 2 or 3 years, and then I'm out. Versus Barcelona, it's like we have to perform. We have to make sure we don't lose.
there's no guarantee of
There's
trophies.
no guaranteed trophies. Money is going to be an issue. I mean, the whole project doesn't look as enticing because it's probably maybe not next year, it's the year after that. And maybe he wanted money, everything now, done deal. I don't want to have a headache, which is understandable, but Barcelona have a better chance of getting a harmony going than PSG because
Mm.
PSG are playing lighter teams and Mbappe is a little bit of a flight risk right now. We don't know where his future lies. And if you take Mbappe away, yes, you'll get a lot of money, but who are you really going to buy? That's the real question
To
to replace
replace
his
him, yeah.
sheer talent. It's like then you end up buying panic moves, right? Like Barcelona did with Dembele. It's a hit and miss. So
Mm.
I I think he chose a team in a time where he wanted money, security, and done with it. Versus Barcelona
Yeah.
would be I need to put more effort. It's a maybe. The project looks great, but it needs a lot more work, and it's
And
fine.
also like from a player standpoint, like playing time, right? I think he would get a lot more playing time at PSG that he would because that PSG's midfield, he can
Oh,
walk
it's
into that
awful.
easily.
It's
Versus
awful.
Barcelona, he's probably going to be getting,
Correct.
chop changed and moved
That, that's
around
my
and
that's my point. I think he would have to work harder to be on that starting 11 versus
yeah,
PSG. Seeing the squad in the midfield, he's an easy starting 11.
yeah, exactly.
So for me,
So
that shows that the project that he was more linked to was, what makes it easier for me to just play and get it on with and earn money. And maybe it's the last stunt I have, and that's it. Versus Paris, versus Barcelona, it would be like I have to prove myself. I'm not getting that much money, and all the money comes from trophies, so we have to play. I see the Barcelona project as more prosperous because I look at the players around, and I
mm,
see that that's a really good core if you look at it.
yeah,
If you look at Paris, it's like okay, it's now or never to win,
yeah.
or else Mbappe. Like if the next year they don't win Champions League, Mbappe is gone, like without
Because
a heartbeat.
didn't it?
He's gone.
Because I think my brother was saying something about like Real Madrid are basically waiting till next season to get Mbappe because I think he might
No
be
one can
cheaper.
afford him. No one can afford him right now. It's
Yeah,
impossible. Pandemic, clubs are in debt. Barcelona just borrowed 500 million. It's just like no club has money. If they have money, it's to exchange players. And who in their right mind is going to accept an exchange player with Mbappe
like
besides Haaland?
Modric. Yeah, like
Yeah,
Modric
it's
is
like
on his last legs.
you can offer Benzema, Modric, Courtois, etc. I still wouldn't give up Mbappe. I mean, that's the truth of the lay of the land, right?
Yeah, that is so true. It's definitely been a good conversation, man. But just before we wrap up, I wanted to just what is the player that has impressed you so far in the tournament?
The player that has impressed me the most. Um, It's a tough one because there are a lot of them. I have to say, Gozen from Germany,
Germany, yeah.
he's really impressed me. Lucatelli from Spain, from Italy, has really impressed me. By far, probably one of the best players I've seen to just emerge.
Yeah.
Um, Wijnaldum has been impressive. Memphis has been impressive. I have to say, it's sad to say, but none of the French players impressed me this year. Maybe it's because I
But
hold a
it's
high standard.
expected, right? It's
I hold a high
expected.
standard. I saw them how they play. I know how they can play. And right now, none of the French players have like blown my mind. Spain, it's Pedri. Pedri has by far stepped up to the way I thought he would.
Yeah, Pedri has
When
been
I
good. Yeah, Pedri has been good.
see Pedri, and I'm like, thank God he's on Barcelona because this guy is a gem. Like I would definitely want him to start next year. Um, Yeah, for me, it's Lucatelli and Gozan right now that have been really impressive in terms of just emerging, being the player they need right away. I
Yeah,
almost would say Schick from Czech Republic,
from the
but
Czech Republic.
he
Yeah,
he didn't show up last time.
yeah.
Um, and then the traditional player I would say really impressed me was Lukaku. I think he's consistent.
Yeah, Lukaku's been good. Yeah, Lukaku has been good, but I expected that from Lukaku. Like he's had a
Yeah, it's
couple of
that's what I mean. It's like
yeah,
it's
yeah, he's had a
expected,
couple
right?
last seasons. But I do agree with you. Locatelli has been number one for me. I know he was linked to Manu few like just end of the season. So I don't know. I don't think he fits what we're looking for, but I think he's
I think
really
he's going to go to Juventus. I think
yeah,
Juventus
I don't see
tend
him.
to catch these Italian players, and I think he's going to go to Juventus. They tend to favoritize it. The mindset is almost like German
Yeah.
league. It's like if you want to be the best in Italy, you go to Juventus. If you want to be the best in Germany, you go to Bayern Munich. And I think Lucatelli, I'm sure when he was a kid, he probably had a Juventus jersey, and he's going to want to go there.
Yeah.
So for
Same
me,
with
it's
the English
Lucatelli.
players, right? Like England
Yeah.
as well. It's just in recent times that we've seen younger British talent going overseas to play. But yeah, that's a two.
I will say the players I'm most disappointed with are Kane,
Yeah, Kane is
Mbappe,
on that list. Who
and
else?
Mbappe. I've been supremely disappointed by Mbappe, and I think the last player I want to say that I'm actually supremely disappointed with is what's his name, the midfielder from Germany,
Cruz.
Cruz. I think he's been abysmal for Germany, honestly. For a guy who's great in Real Madrid, who everybody in Real Madrid says he's like one of the best midfielder, he's nowhere to be found on the German field. It's actually
No,
quite scary how he's just nowhere to be found, and he hasn't stepped up in any sense. It's
yeah,
almost as though why did he get selected and to be on the starting 11? I mean, I don't like what I saw at all from him, and it's even more
Gundogan has
worrisome for
been
Real
kind
Madrid.
of missing, and I
Yeah,
feel like Joshua Kimmich as well. Like playing him as what a right back. I
yeah.
just feel like that's not his role, and I just feel
No,
like
it
we're
isn't.
not
It's
seeing the
no
best.
longer his role. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not seeing the best out of Josh Kimmich. But yeah, to me, I'll say definitely Locatelli. What's that guy's name? The Swedish striker, the young black kid.
Oh,
Is it
Isak.
Issa? Yeah,
Isak. Yeah.
he's good,
But
man. Like I
the
think I
thing is,
like his.
Isak has always been good in La Liga. The problem is he's never shown it on a level because he doesn't play Champions League.
Hmm.
Always been good. He was even on the Barcelona radar in the news. They were like, "Oh, Isak is on the radar. He's good, but he's never been able to prove himself on an international stage. And this in a semi-international stage, you can see how good he has. He has skills. Can he
Yeah,
get to that hump? I don't know because if I put him and Haaland playing next to each other, Haaland would blow it out of the water.
yeah, that would be nice. And I gotta say too, man. I know, Evie, this is not your favorite player, but I gotta say Pogba has been good for France. I think he's probably been France's best player. Hungary, you can say, but I think that was no one was good in that game. But against Germany, I think he not saying that he's been blowing like his performances have been out of this world, but I think Pogba has probably is part of the reason that France is where they are right now, just in terms of so
I
far in the tournament.
I fully agree. I think Pogba's been our best player by far. I think him and I hate to say it, Varane have been much better
Yeah,
because
Varane has been good.
I don't
Kimpembe has been questionable,
yeah
too aggressive, but I don't know what's going
con-
on with him. But
yeah I actually have to say there's three players I kept dissing the entire season, and they're the ones showing up. It's Griezmann,
yeah, Greasy has
Pogba,
been good in the middle of the park.
Pogba, and Varane. I have three guys I've constantly said all season they were just awful and they just don't belong on the French team, and they made me eat my words. They're really
So
doing
far,
well.
so
Yeah,
far.
they're really doing well. So I hope it continues and they prove me wrong. But
Yeah,
and Benzema, I said Benzema wouldn't really flourish. He hasn't really flourished, but he stepped up when we needed him. We needed a
yeah.
goal, and he stepped up, and that's exactly what I want.
And
I'm
that
waiting
finish
for
was a
that for
typical
Mbappe.
number nine finish too, right?
Yeah,
Because that was
yeah,
a very tight angle.
it
That
was. It was, and he hit the
so
bar. It could have gone the other side, and like I said, the players that have disappointed me the most is on the French side is Mbappe, and I can't say more about Mbappe. And Dembele has been exactly what I thought he would be, a fluke. And
yeah,
that's what disappoints me the most. He comes in, I'm super happy and proud. He's representing Barcelona, three
and then
sprints, and he gets injured. And you're like, come on, man. Why are we paying you this much?
yeah. Trust me, there's certain players like that I just feel really bad for. Like the fact they can't get game time. I think Umtiti was also another player that I think injuries. Even though Real Madrid fans are saying that it was Barcelona that ruined his career, but I think it was injuries
No, it's
that ruined
injuries.
his
If it was
career.
Barcelona, we wouldn't have kept him for 3 years. I mean, we kept him on a payroll to just sit there in rehab. Poor guy. I mean, Dembele, it's 4 months now recovery. So I'm thinking, now you've addressed the problem that he needed injury the entire time, and we just kept delaying it, just like Fati. So it's clearly a direction from the club that says, listen, we can't continue playing these injuries. You have to get operated. Laporta made that decision with the club to have the club doctors just see a specialist and get operated because it's been too
Yeah,
much, right? It's just too much injuries, and you need to make a decision. And
yeah,
Fati got operated. It looks like he's doing better. Dembele needs to get operated and see if he does better. And I'm willing to wait one more season with him,
yeah.
but
Because he's
he
still
needs to
relatively
step
young,
up.
right? They're still
Young or
relatively young.
not, it's a crisis point. It's like either he's going to break out or he's just going to. This is what it is. And if
Yeah,
this is what it is, I'd rather use him as a bargaining chip, send him where he's more comfortable, and get a better player at the sense because he is a
mm,
fantastic player. When I look at Dortmund, but since Dortmund, he hasn't been able to click. Is it Barcelona that poorly managed him in general with the old president not having the proper person to cook around him and eat him and eat everything with him because he used to love fast food, stuff like that. But I honestly think that Mbappe in the French team has been the most disappointing apart from Dembele.
yeah. Definitely, I do agree with that. That's my similar concern with Rashford as well. Is he's supposed to be going in for an operation? I'm like, I do understand. I know some fans are like, why did you go to the Euros when you have an injury? I'm like, first of all, like, what player doesn't want to go to the Euros or
Yeah.
international tournament, especially international tournaments that you only get on average two, on
Well,
average, right, based
if
on
you
age because of
if
how
you look
far
at
apart they
Belgium,
are.
if you
So
listen
the 4 years
if
is
you
a
listen
long
to
time in
Belgium,
a football
if you
player's
listen
career. That's
exactly, and I totally agree. And if you look at
so
Belgium, apparently they're saying this is the World Cup, even though it's a Euro. So every player, like you said, wants to be on the Euro. And I agree with you. No player comes into this Euro thinking that they need an injury, they need a surgery. It's the worst.
yeah.
It's the worst possible thing.
Yeah, like you want to play for your country. Like even think about it as a child, like as a kid when you first dream about playing football. What's the one thing that every child does is the imagination of you score the winning goal for your country in the World Cup. That is always every kid's thought. Yeah, the clubs and whatever, that comes later. But your first dream as a football fan is to score the winning goal for your country at the World Cup. That's typically, and that's
It's
what everyone
it's
wants to be a striker as a kid, right?
it's the
So
one thing you've practiced when you were a kid. How many times did you practice that Zidane shot from the Champions League to be?
yeah,
It's like you practice it, but the difference between the club and the international play in terms of national, it's like there's passion versus becoming fame. And I think the club is the fame, the money, and etc. And then when you win the World Cup, it's a status. It's a passion mixed with status, and
yeah,
that's what it's all about. Now everybody can say the Euro is better than the World Cup, like the Belgians, but I guarantee you that the World Cup is the highest trophy out there. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
there's no other feeling than the World Cup. When France won the World Cup, all the pain from the Euro losing it, I was like, I'd rather
It
lose
was
that
gone.
trophy 50 times over and over to win that World Cup because that's what you want. That second star. That's what you want.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
Euro, I don't see any stars for the Euro here, even though we won it twice or three times. I don't know how it is, but it's like I don't see the stars. I see World Cup.
Yeah,
So
I was a bit confused with that. Yeah, because France won it in the '80s, right? And
yeah, they
then
won it once in the
with
80s and then another
Platini.
one in 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in
We
2000,
won it
yeah, that
three
makes
times.
sense because I was getting confused there. I was like, wait, no, France has won it more than once, but and then now it's
Denmark
two
won it
two, right?
once. Yeah,
What?
Denmark won it once. The
Yeah.
Euro. In France three times. Obviously, this would be the fourth. And I don't know about
Oh,
the other
France has
team.
won it 3 times.
Yeah,
The
so we won
Euros.
what 2000, 2000, right? We won it in the
Yeah,
80s,
like
and then when
86, I believe, or 80.
and then we
Yeah,
won it. Yeah, we won it, or is it two? Is it two or three? I
it's
can't
gonna be
remember.
two. The fact that we only have 2 stars, right, on the jersey.
No, we don't count those for Euros.
Oh, it's just the World Cup.
It's just the World Cup. So I
Oh,
don't know. I think we might have. Again, as a French fan, I don't know this. This is really bad.
actually, you know what? You're right because I think every country just puts the World Cup
Yeah.
star. I think. Yeah.
Yes, we have. I can't. Okay, I don't know how many, but I have a feeling we won it twice, maybe three times. I could be wrong. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Oh, so we won it twice.
Yeah, I think we won it
84
twice.
and then 2000.
Yeah, so we're due for another one for sure.
Yeah, my dad tells me stories about that one.
The 2000 was by far the most
The
beautiful
Oh
goal.
yeah,
I
no,
mean,
2000. Yeah, 2000 were around for that one, but 1984. My dad tells us stories because my family had lived in Europe at that time too, right?
right.
So that was actually 2 years. That was the year my sister was born the year before, and then my brother was born 2 years after that. Yeah, that's my dad's era. That's when he was a young man.
It's the good era, right? It's the good era, right?
But yeah, man, it's definitely been fun. I'm happy that we still ended up doing it today, so that way we can enjoy the weekend. There's going to be a lot of good games coming up, so it's going to be fun, and we'll definitely be back to discuss our thoughts on the knockout stage. And yeah, I guess at this point, I think the 3 games I'm really looking forward to are the England, Germany, Croatia. No, sorry, Portugal, Belgium, and there's another game.
Well, for me,
Obviously,
it's
France for sure, but
Denmark, Wales, England, Germany. I definitely look forward to seeing Belgium, Portugal to see where that goes, and then obviously France. The rest are like they're a little bit moot point. I think Belgium will pass.
yeah,
I think Spain will pass normally because Croatia wasn't that creative. I think Spain has a better chance with the rejuvenation. There's a lot of prediction that people saying that France would be eliminated by Spain, but I think that Spain just don't have that experience yet. So I mean, it could
yeah,
happen. We never know. But if France get it together with Switzerland, I think they could take care of Spain. But we'll see. But yeah, four
yeah,
games looking forward to and seeing what the outcome. I'll definitely be cheering for Denmark and France. And as much as Belgium are so cocky, I would love for Portugal to knock them out.
yeah.
If that
I know. I
happens,
definitely
I
want
don't want
Belgium
to hear
out. I'd
about
rather play
Belgium.
Portugal
Yeah.
again, but I just
I
know
don't
France's
I
history
don't
with
care.
Portugal.
I
So
don't really care about Belgium. If anything, I want to play them even more to see what they have to talk about because we definitely have the best team.
yeah,
But I actually think they deserve to be hit in the mouth, and I think they need to be pegged
spoken like
down.
a true neighbor.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's just like I don't see Croatia complaining about the final. It was 4-2. It was a
Yeah,
proper battle and we won. And I don't see them moaning anything about it. It was 1-0 with Belgium. They have to accept that we played the better tactic. That's just what it is. It's football. So I don't appreciate when I read the news saying that, the Euro has more importance than the World Cup and that they're the best team. You haven't won anything.
yeah,
And you're basically disrespecting Italy, France, Germany, all those teams that also lost on a hard level. You're disrespecting them. So I would love for Portugal to prove they are the champions, the defending champions. I would rather play Portugal again and get another chance than play Belgium and knock them in their mouth again and say, I'm sorry, what were you talking about?
yeah.
It's
No,
like,
that's so true, though. That's so true. Yeah, Belgium has been one of those teams that they never really had like they've always had players, but they've never really had a solid team. And in the last 3 tournaments, they've really been good. But
I
I just don't
remember,
feel they have the right balance to take
correct.
it to the finals or to win the tournament.
I remember in the World Cup, I was like, man, Belgium has such a chance. They have a really good team. I really hope they make it far. And we played them, and I was like, my reaction as a fan was like, Belgium are just by far better than us. They have such a young, great core. I was
Yeah.
like, they deserve it. But we played better. Yes, we won 1-0, but we played better tactically. And ever since then, I keep hearing chirps of there's a better team. And I'm like, guys, you're disrespecting two World Cups and two Euros. You won nothing. Like, maybe wait your turn and be humble. That's how you win
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
So I would really hope Portugal beat them to knock them in their mouth and say, that's how it is to be humble, because Portugal is going in there as
The
the not
underdogs,
favorite.
basically.
They're the
Yeah.
underdog. And I would love for the underdog to win again and just show Belgium that you need to be humble, you know?
Yeah.
So it'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
that's gonna be interesting though, because yeah, because people are even saying that Sanchez might start again for Portugal because even when he came on in their first two games, he was just lethal. Like he's that like he just rejuvenates the team, and I feel like they
Agree.
play better with him on there. And but we'll see. But yeah, man, it's definitely been fun, guys. Those of you that liked, I really appreciate the views. Please continue to like, subscribe, and share. And till next time, we'll see you when hopefully France makes it to the quarterfinals.
You
Till
don't
next
you
time,
don't you don't
guys.
say anything until the fat lady sings, right?
Yeah, exactly. I take care, guys.